Hello everyone, welcome back to online social science class. We are doing civics chapter 3 electoral politics. So in the last 3 videos we talked about elections and democratic elections. Here in this video we will see the elections in India, the process of elections in India. So let us start with the first step, that is electoral constituencies. First thing what is done is the country is divided into small areas. Okay, for the purpose of elections, the country is divided into small areas, and these areas are known as electoral politics. Now the purpose of this is to have the equal number of voters. Like, you cannot compare the marks you got out of 20 and other side you got out of 50. You cannot say that out of 20 I got 18 marks, very good marks, but out of 50 I got 30. So which one is a big number? You feel 30 is a big number. In general, if we are comparing 30 and 18, 30 seems a big number, but 30 is out of 50 and 18 is out of 20. So the bigger one is, the majority is 18. So we cannot compare the constituencies with different number of voters. So to have almost equal number of voters in each constituencies, areas are divided. Okay, so I hope you understood the purpose of dividing the constituencies. For the Lok Sabha, our country is divided into almost 543 constituencies, and from each constituency one member is elected who is known as MP, Member of Parliament. Each constituency who is winning will go to the Parliament as Member of Parliament. So this is electoral constituencies. Further, as you know, our constitution states that we work for equality. All the citizens should get equal chance. That is the feature of democracy. So, but it happens that some of the groups, some of the weaker sections are not able to take the advantage. They are not getting that many opportunities to stand in elections. So for that purpose, what is done? The constitutions, they thought of a special provision for these groups, like the groups like SC/ST, and even for women also now it is done. So there is a reservation for these groups. So some of the areas are divided, seen as reserved constituencies. From these areas, only the people from this particular category can contest in the elections. Okay, so this was about dividing the areas, that is constituencies, or we have seen about reserved constituencies. Now the next step is voters list. It is familiar, you can get the idea from the name, voters list. In general, this list contains names of all the eligible voters who can vote, who can cast their vote. Their names are given in the list, which is known as voter list, and officially it is known as electoral roll. Now who are the people? You have studied this also, like universal adult franchisee. It states that people, all the adults above 18 are having right to vote irrespective of their caste, gender, religion, any status they belong, they are having a right to vote. So all these names are included in the voters list. And this list is revised periodically, and it's the duty of the government to add all the names of the eligible voters. They have to update this because they have to remove the names sometimes because of death or transfer, or they have to include the names who have attained the voting age. So this is done by the government and voter list is prepared. Okay, I hope this voter list is clear. We can move to the next topic. The next step is nomination of the candidates. The people who aspire to stand an election, who want to contest an election, they have to fill a nomination form. Okay, the person who is eligible to vote is eligible to contest also. The only difference is the people who want to contest the election, they have to attain the age of 25. Okay, after 25 only they can go for contesting the elections. Okay, so they go for this, they fill a nomination form, and the political party, they are electing one of the candidate, their own candidate, and he is getting a party symbol and support. Okay, so this is what is done under nomination. Now, what is the procedure? What formalities they have to fill? We will see. The first thing is they have to fill a nomination form and they have to submit a sum of money as a security deposit. After this, the next step is they have to fill a declaration. Like people are asked to prepare for going for any official work. We are filing a declaration. So they have to write or file a declaration which tells about the details. Now, what are the details I have mentioned here? Any criminal case or any record or any pending case is there that you have to mention. They have to give the details of all the assets and liabilities. Assets means their property, whatever they have got, they have to mention in the form. They have to mention their education qualification. So these all are the things they have to mention, and most important is this all is made public. It is shown to public so that people can decide on the basis of the details. We can decide like who is the better candidate or will be the better representatives. So this is the another step under the election procedure. Now, the next step, very popular, you all have seen and it is very exciting, like election campaign. Like before elections, you might have heard so many sounds are coming, slogans we are hearing, the whole television is filled with election debates. So everywhere we can see the whole environment is filled with election. That is what is election campaign. Officially, why it is there, what is the purpose, we will see. See, the purpose is democracy says that people should have freedom of expression or freely things should to be discussed. For that election campaign, the strategies adopted is election campaign so that people can express their views, their policies, and people can decide, they can see and judge who is better. For this purpose, election campaigns are organized. They are organized for almost 2 weeks period before the announcement of the final list. As soon as the final list is declared or date of polling is declared, before that for 2 weeks it is done. After that, what they are doing under this, the candidates are contacting the voters. They are telling about their policies, what they are willing to do, how they will serve the people. So they contact the voters, they are addressing the people. Okay. And we can, you have seen like in newspapers, television, everywhere what they are broadcasting, all election related stories are shown in the television also. So because they want to focus the attention of the public, they want the attention of the public, they want to raise the issues so that they can get a popular support, they can get vote. Okay, so this is done under election campaigning. But it doesn't end here. There are certain laws for the election campaigning because as we have discussed before, there are certain tricks, dirty tricks they are using, some illegal methods are used. So there are certain laws made by the government to have a fair system of election. So what is done, we will see. So here I have mentioned the election laws. In our country, there is a free and fair chance. Everybody is free to contest for the elections. But to maintain this freedom and fair system of election, there are some election laws. So the first one is that no party or candidate can bribe the voters. People are they are having lot of money, so some are using the money power to influence the voters. So it is illegal. Again, according to the election laws, they cannot bribe the people and they cannot threaten them that you have to vote to me only. Okay, so this is the first law. The next is they cannot use the name of any religion. They cannot attack on their religious sentiments and use the caste that I belong to your caste, you vote for me. So this is against election law. And the next is they cannot use any government resources for the campaigning, government officials or government vehicles. This is banned. They cannot use all these things for the election campaign. So these are the election laws. And the next one is that they cannot spend more than 25 lakhs for the Lok Sabha elections and they cannot spend more than 10 lakh for the assembly elections. This limit is given because the rich people can use more money, right? They can use more money for election campaigning. So they are using this advantage. So for that, there is a limit that they can spend only this much amount of money. This is a maximum amount. They cannot go beyond this. If a candidate or a party is found to be involved in any such activity, their election will be rejected. Even if they are winning, even anything happened, but still their election will be cancelled or rejected if they are found to be breaking any of these laws. Okay. Now we will come to the next term, model code of conduct. It is quite similar to the election laws. There is a standard code of conduct, means the candidates are expected to follow this standard code of conduct, that they have to agree on this. So all the political parties are agreed on these terms, and which is known as model code of conduct. According to this, no candidate can use the worship place for election propaganda, means for election campaigning they cannot use the place of worship. They cannot use government vehicles or officials for election, and once the elections are announced, they cannot use, they cannot give any, they decide any new decision. They cannot take, they cannot come up with new policies. They cannot make new promises, and they cannot start any new project. Once the elections are announced, they cannot do any of these things. So all these rules comes under model code of conduct. Okay, so these were the steps of the elections. You might be thinking, where are the elections actually? What we know about elections is, as a student, going for voting and getting the result. That is elections for us. So yes, that is the last step. We will come to this polling and counting of votes. Polling day, that is the big day, right? You are getting holiday. That is known as the voting day. The day all the voters whose name is there in the voter list, these people go for voting. That is known as polling day. What they do is, they go to the polling booth for casting vote. These polling booths are mainly the government schools and all. So what the people visit there, and first they are identified, they are putting a mark, the officials are putting a mark on the finger, and then they are permitting us to cast the vote. To maintain the fair and free elections, what they do, the agents of each candidate, the candidate who are contesting in the elections, they are sitting there. They are permitted to sit there. Otherwise, any cheating can take place, right? So the agents of all the candidates are allowed to sit inside the polling booth. Still, you might be having many doubts, because most of you are not above 18. If other than students are watching this video, you are not above 18. So you are not allowed to vote. Never you have seen. So you have got so many doubts that how it takes place. So I will tell you how it happens. In past, people were, they used to put a stamp on a paper. That paper was known as ballot paper. A sheet was given to them, and they have to put the stamp seal of the particular symbol whom they want to vote. But now, to maintain the transparency, to make the elections more accurate, free from any illegal practices, now we are using EVMs, that is electronic voting machines. Now the voter, what he has to do is, just he has to press the button on the name of the candidate whom he wants to vote. This is so simple it is. We were using the EVMs, now we are using machines, and in past we were using ballot paper. Once the elections are over, now what happens? Just after the polling, the EVMs are sealed, because it can allow, any cheating can take place. People can press the button many times. So what is done? The EVMs are sealed and they are taken to the secure place. Then a fixed date is decided, pre-decided day. The EVMs are opened and the votes are counted of all the candidates in different constituencies. And then after the vote in the counting, the results are announced. The person who has got maximum votes is declared elected. So media and all the people are using this and they are starting releasing the results all over the country. The results are announced. So this is what is done. You are familiar. You are seeing what is happening, voting and result declaration. So this is all about the Indian elections. Now we will see, the question is, whatever we have seen about Indian elections, can you claim right now that yes, our elections are democratic? No, it's a big question. There are many questions on this also, that whether it is democratic or not. So in the next video, I will tell you what makes elections in India democratic. Till then, study well, prepare notes. God bless you.